see my name in shining lights. Yeah, a different city every night. Oh, I swear the world better prepare for when I'm a billionaire.
It's time to get down to business on the weekend's #1 business program. Known as the King of Networking, your host, Shalom Klein, has worked with thousands of entrepreneurs and created countless jobs. So, to success. Let's get down to business.
And indeed, we are all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. In business, we talk a lot about business here. You're on with Get Down to Business. And I'm your host, Shalom Klein. And remember, you can always download podcasts from Get Down to Business on my website at shalomklein.com. And while you are there, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Shalom Klein. It's going to be a jam-packed week of content and information you will not want to miss. So let's jump right in. I'm super excited for this conversation. I'm joined by Dr. Eli Joseph, an author, educator, TEDx speaker, who currently serves as faculty member at Columbia University and Queens College, where, by the way, my wife earned her undergrad, and as a partner and medical examiner at Exam One, a Quest Diagnostics company. And I'm super excited about his new book, The Perfect Rejection Resume, A Reader's Guide to Building a Career Through Failure. Eli, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Shalom. How are you?
I'm fantastic. So excited to talk about this. And, our listeners know I'm very passionate about this topic because while employers remain laser focused on the Great Resignation, would-be workers have been facing a wildly different reality, and that's the Great Rejection. But before we get into that, I want to learn more about you. Eli, how did you become so passionate about this topic?
Well, I've been rejected so many times over the past, 5 years. Even through my undergraduate, programs at Queens College and my graduate program at Brooklyn College and University, I was always been plagued by rejection. So now that I've made on the other side and I've gotten a little bit of success, people have assumed that I've got it easy and I got a silver spoon in my mouth. So this is a response to those who say, oh, it must be easy for Eli to do it. He got his doctorate at 24 and it's so easy. He had everything handed to him. And this is the complete opposite. And I would like to share the story. And I hope that others share their story as well.
Wow. Amazing. And hearing your story and reading a little bit over the past few days about what you've been through is incredible because, again, it's the perfect rejection resume, a reader's guide to building a career through failure. And it's not just your own stories, but I know you have talked to amazing career trailblazers and some pretty impressive names. And I know you've got your TED Talk where you share quite a bit. So I've got to start from the very beginning. What is your definition of a rejection resume?
So we already know the traditional resume and what it's all about, but the definition of the rejection resume is a document. It's a 1-page or a 2-page document that highlights your lowlights. In other words, it basically shows, it demonstrates your, the denials, how many organizations and the organization that denied you, rejected you. If you flunked out of school, you can add that into the resume. If you have dropped out, it's also a good addition as well. It's all the failures that you have accumulated throughout your career. So that's basically what a rejection resume is all about.
Huh. Wow. That's I've learned so much. I mean, it sounds so logical, but a rejection resume. So I know in your book you mentioned that time is your biggest competition. Do you mind elaborating on that?
When we think of time, we are actually approaching the end of the first quarter of the new year. And it just so happened that it happened so fast. Just yesterday, we were celebrating New Year's, and all of a sudden, it's the end of March. And I think that when we look at time, we have to strategize against time. And we oftentimes say we're competing against ourselves. And I always disagree with that notion because, renters do it every day. Renters do it every day, and you always have to pay off your goals, which is the landlord. The landlord is always your goals. And I always believe that once you set your mindset as far as competing against time, your whole mindset change and your whole framework as far as approaching your goals change as well. So it's a good concept to use. Just time is always going to be your competition.
For sure. And I know, Eli, you mentioned you certainly have been through quite a bit of rejection on your own. And in thinking about our audience here and Get Down to Business, we've got a lot of different folks. We've got the seasoned professional, I'll call them that, the seasoned professional. But on the flip side, we also have those college students that might be graduating really nervous. How are they going to get that first job? Everybody's saying, you're perfect, but if only you had a little bit of experience. How do you get that experience? Nobody knows. So I have to ask on that subject, because I'm very attuned to this. I have these conversations with college students all the time. What's the most valuable lesson that a college student can learn from their failures? And what advice would you have for them in how to get that experience and get started?
Well, it's always important to always participate in competitions. You always have to write. Sometimes you may have to work for free, freelance, work for free, and show and prove that you are capable to accomplish what you need to accomplish, and you're responsible enough. Once you give employers that free sample of your work, then you can prepare yourself and position yourself for a job that you're desired for. Also, boot camps. You're just accumulating your skills at this point, because that's the best way to basically gain experience without actually having that work experience. So when we think of competitions, just fellowship programs, different internship programs that can get you in the faces of employers, and then you can move on from there. And it's all about that building block. Take it one day at a time. You won't, as far as people trying to achieve that 6-figure goal, it may not happen overnight, but as long as you can accomplish this, accumulate your skills over time, you'll eventually get there.
Wow. And Eli, back over to your story. I know you earned a bachelor's at 20, a master's at 21, was named the Forbes Under 30 Scholar at 23. And then you started slacking because you only got your doctorate at 24. So honestly, there's a lot of inspiration behind your story. But what drives you? I understand you're an early riser in the morning. You've taken 10 college courses in one semester. What has driven you? And if you don't mind, be real with our listeners in terms of some of those challenges that I know you write about the failure, and how do we avoid those pitfalls and speed bumps?
I'm always, as far as going back to the theme of time being my biggest competitor, I always believe that I don't have much time, but I need to accomplish what I need to accomplish, and I need to take my time to do so. So what keeps me up at night, as far as getting work done, if I have a task that I need to accomplish, I won't go to sleep until I accomplish that goal. And even if I have to pull out an all-nighter, it's totally fine. As far as trying to move on to the next goal, I think success is a moving goalpost. And you have to move along with it. And once you act accordingly and you move along with it, you will always be dedicated to accomplishing your goals, and you always be dedicated to your skill sets and always trying to improve. So once again, I always want to pay off that rent. And I always believe that everyone have their rent, and rent is due every single day, and you have to pay off that rent through your utilities, through your effort. Your effort is your biggest currency. So I always believe that I need to accomplish what I need to accomplish, and I won't go to sleep until I do so.
Okay, awesome. Wow. What an inspiring story. And, there's actually a lot of lessons that I'm picking up, and I speak with folks in transition all the time. One of the things I always ask whenever I sit down for coffee with somebody in transition is I always say, my friend, what's your dream job? What's your dream job? Because I truly want to know. I want to know how I can help. But you talk about in your book 4 reasons why your dream job may always be out of reach. Can we talk about that term dream job, and why do you say that it might be out of reach? Should people continue to dream big, or is that crazy talk?
No, it's not crazy talk. I think people can continue to dream big. However, when you think of your dream job, you may think of an organization that you always wanted to work for. However, you may not be the dream candidate for that job. You may also not be the dream candidate within the organization, and the organization may not be the best fit for you. So it's always a two-way street. When we think of a dream job, we're always laser focused. It's a one-way street. We have to focus on our dream job. However, you may not be that dream employee for that organization, or that organization may not be the dream employee for the dream employer for you as well. So that's one of the reasons why your dream job may not be within reach. And once again, your goals are always changing. So your dream job yesterday may not be the dream job today. So once again, it's also important to know that it's a two-way street, and everything has to be reciprocal as well.
Absolutely. Again, I've been chatting with the author, the amazing Dr. Eli Joseph, who has written The Perfect Rejection Resume, a Reader's Guide to Building Career Through Failure. Literally just came out about a month ago, and there's some great tips, advice for truly everybody tuning in to the program. Eli, I want to give you the final word. How can people get in touch with you and pick up a copy of the book?
You can get in touch with me on LinkedIn, Eli Joseph, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I always keep the same username, which is Dr. Eli Joseph, DrElijoseph, straight through. I'm also available on platforms like TikTok and platforms like Clubhouse. Same username, which is Dr. Eli Joseph, DrElijoseph. And once again, the book is also available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble's, The Perfect Rejection Resume. And I always believe in connecting. So I look forward to connecting with everyone that's listening on board. And I really appreciate you for having me on, Shalom.
Absolutely. Thank you. We'll be back in just a moment here and Get Down to Business. Don't touch that dial.